What up, guys? In this video, I want to talk about do women like bad boys? Are attracted to bad boys? And there's a lot of talk on this, and I've done a lot of thought on it and taken some notes. Um, and I think that the answer is yes, but ultimately they won't stay long term with that man. I think women in general are looking for strength, and there's an overarching trait of disagreeableness that goes along with the bad boys. Bad boys can disagree, and women see this as strength. This is at least my theory, and um, but a lot of bad boys, because they're bad, are so disagreeable that it's aggressive and it's insensitive, and it's only amount of time until you know that aggressiveness and being insensitive comes out on her to the point that she she can't tolerate being with him anymore. um there's some talk about research on dark triad men, men who are narcissistic, Machiavellianistic, and psychopathic. Basically men that have low negative emotion, aren't really fearful, don't really care about other people's feelings, and are willing to do whatever they can to get what they want, and have a very inflated sense of self. um, but if for what I've read in the research, it says specifically that these men are preferable for short-term dating. Basically, the way I take that is that the woman will find out, and that the man, you know, she will leave him at some point, or at least if even if she stays with him, she won't prefer it. And my take on this is that the woman will not really stay with anybody until she finds a man who is balanced, who has traits between the bad boy and then the super nice guy. The guy she will stay with the one who's in between. And not a lot of men can do this because it's really hard. If you become too aggressive and too disagreeable, you you end up not being able to control that in your relationship or with women, because when a woman first gets with a really aggressive, disagreeable person, maybe she'll assume that strength and stuff is going to be used on other people, and it's going to be used to protect her. But there's no way someone who's super aggressive can control that in such a disciplined way. I mean, only a boxer, or somebody who has extreme level of discipline, can control their aggressiveness, to not use it on wrongly. But eventually, if someone's super disagreeable and they're, let's say fighting people at the bar, it's probably only a matter of time until they fight their own girlfriend and punch her in the face or something like that. That's the way I see it. Like, because someone who's not disciplined with their aggressiveness in general is not going to be able to control it with their own girlfriend. At some point it's probably going to come out. That's at least how I see it. But at the same time, you have to be able to integrate your aggressiveness into your life, like, and part of that is being disagreeable. So I think that if you want to be the man that women are attracted to, you can play the middle ground, and this is the one that the woman will ultimately prefer long term, the one that she can still stay excited with when even during marriage. And that overall trait is disagreeableness. So I'm gonna mention, some examples, real quick of disagreeableness and why women find that attractive. For one, but bad boys will set boundaries. They're not, you know, afraid to start conflict in the moment, to save how to explain it, to create conflict in the moment so that there's peace later. Well, lots of overly nice guys will keep, you know, they'll avoid the conflict in the moment, and then there'll be anger and, lack of attraction later, because the woman is just going to see that he doesn't have courage to stand up for himself, or for some reason he doesn't want to. And women seem to be attracted to displaying strength. So setting boundaries, telling her if you felt disrespected, telling her what are your rules in life, what she can and can't do, and what makes you feel disrespected, or what just doesn't work for you. That is going to make her feel attracted and respect you. So that's the first way of disagreeableness, setting boundaries. Another thing is that bad boys have their own opinions and ideologies. And women don't like a man who just morphs his identity, to fit in with what she likes. Because, the woman doesn't want just more of her opinions already. She wants her own, to experience another person's opinions, So a bad boy will have his own ideologies and thoughts on life, and is not afraid to express them. And that's a big part of being disagreeable, is having your own thoughts, being willing to share something that other people will disagree with. This could just be any sort of opinion. Maybe you live a certain way. I'm not saying to live any way that's bad, but if you think that it's kind of hard to provide examples, but I'll try to provide more examples later in the video. Bad boys have their own life going on. They have their own hobbies, their own goals, and they don't make a woman the center of their life, because women don't want to be the center of a man's life, because, again, that a woman being the center of a man's life is like even a woman being part of a man's life is like his soft spot. So if you're like the center of, if she's like the center of his life, he's kind of become completely soft. That's kind of the way I think a woman would see it. And women like strength. So you have to have your own life going on, like your own hobbies, and you can't just be so naive, like it's a Disney movie. You run off into the sunset with your wife and you never see anybody ever again. You got to have your own life going on. And I think that even when it comes to the initial attraction, I think bad boys don't get attached right away. Maybe they'll invest and they'll connect, but there's not immediate attachment. And I found that with nicer guys, there's often a lot of attachment really early on, which shows kind of being naive, because it's you can't even assume that a woman is going to be a really good woman. And it's not even to be cynical, but at least in my opinion, I feel like I'm being a realist to say that the average woman is not good. Probably 90% probably are not really good, especially in today's world, unless you live in a super conservative society. But I think in the average place in the West, the average woman, especially if she's really pretty, is not typically not that good of a woman. So to get super idealistic, to think, oh my gosh, she must be the ideal person because she's so pretty, I think bad boys don't really do that. They just go for her and just find out what happens. So yeah, I think I found there's kind of a way that women are. At first you might think that they want you to give them all this, or that they want you to value them at first, but I think honestly women at first, they just want you to be like, they want to be like a passing thought, that you think about them sometimes, but not really, that you still have your own life going on. And then maybe once you start to get to know each other, then they want you to think about them more. But I think women don't generally like if you start thinking about them a lot right when you get to know them. I mean, if you do, that's fine, but I wouldn't show it. Yeah. Related to attachment, I think would be, the ability to walk away. Bad boys can just walk away. If the woman just is too disrespectful, because you have to realize, like, if the woman continues to put up disrespect, you can't, if you stay with her, she's just gonna disrespect you. Like, she's gonna disrespect you for staying with her. I honestly, my theory is at least that some women know that they're so bad that they won't even respect you for staying with them, because they know that you shouldn't. It's a paradox, but I mean, it's kind of like, they know that you shouldn't stay with them, that you'd be smarter off leaving. So if you have to do that, maybe you just got to do that. Like, you can't fix everything. Just because you're a man and you love to fix things, like, you can't fix everything. And definitely, a bad boy is not going to take the blame. He's not going to be like, I know I'm doing something wrong. If I can just figure it out, she'll start to be nicer to me. A bad boy will just be like, I'm not going to tolerate this behavior. Maybe he'll give some insight to himself, or look into himself and ask if he's to blame at all. But he's not going to be attached to this idea that he is to blame and that he can make her, stop acting disrespectful. Because sometimes you just can't. Another thing about bad boys is that they're comfortable with their attraction. They don't think that they're weird for being attracted to a woman. And then they will escalate, based off of, kind of what they want to do. Maybe they'll see the woman, is giving them some signs, that she wants him to kiss her or whatever, but he's not going to wait for the perfect sign. He will escalate based off of a little bit of a sign from her. And I think women want that. They want you to take the lead to some extent. They want to feel desired. And you're not, the woman doesn't always give a perfect sign. Maybe it's just a little subtle sign. Maybe it's really no sign at all if she's super shy. And the bad boy, will do that. He'll escalate just because he wants it. And you have to consider their feelings, but I think women definitely like men who can escalate and aren't waiting for the perfect sign to come by. Yeah. Another thing about bad boys is that it seems like they've somehow integrated their sexuality with their aggression. This seems to be what women like. If you watch movies, there's always like some aggression with the sexuality. For example, it's not like just some soft, kissing or something like that. A lot of the times, if you watch the movies, the bad boy, he grabs the woman and throws her up against the wall, and then he kisses her. There's like some aggression combined with it. And it seems like women want that. Like, they don't necessarily want to be treated as like super soft. Maybe they do sometimes, but it's almost like there's this balance where, like, they want you to use your aggression on them, like it signals strength. And so, like, yeah, when the man, passionately grabs the woman and throws her up against the wall, yeah, it's aggression. But the bad boy is okay to an extent with his aggression. And I think that that's what you can play the middle ground between a bad boy and a super nice guy, and you can use that aggression, you know, crossed with your sexuality. Yeah, I'm trying to keep my videos a little bit shorter, but I am going to post a part 2. This video is not done at all, so go check out the part 2. I'm going to post it right after this one.